I would now like to invite our next speaker, Aveek Roy, Vice President of International Sales, IMEA, Sangoma. Aveek is an experienced and mature salespeople manager who also leads from the front to consistently deliver on targets. Having more than 14 plus years of experience in handling P&L responsibility and managing various cross-country teams, he brings a fresh new perspective and approach to any enterprise to drive existing or new businesses to accelerate growth models with a quick tat. Let's welcome Aveek Roy.
Well, thank you and good afternoon, everybody. I think we have been hearing a lot of things today since morning, some very inclusive thinking about where the digital economy is going, where India is going, and how the telecom sector needs the fillip or the boost to sort of come out and have things moving in a better manner. Today, what I bring to the table is we'll be talking about one of the very simple use cases which we all talk about, which is communication or business communications. And that is something which we'll be talking about. I am representing a company called Sangoma. So many of you would think that this is a Chinese name, but then it's actually Canadian. So, so just a small snapshot. We are a 35, 40-year-old company based out of Canada. Today in the industry, if you look at, business is being redefined. And when we talk about business is being redefined, the whole way and the art of doing business is changing. So you have a change in the customers. Customers are now not sitting in markets, or they're now sitting in specific shops or locations. They are everywhere. Today, right now, while I was coming inside, I was seeing somebody was doing an Amazon, buying out on the table. So, for example, at this show, there are customers who are there, right? And that's mobility. The world is changing. Previously, for example, travel used to be a very common phenomenon. With the new things which are coming in, travel has become less. So now it's all, moving to work from home, to hybrid. So basically, the people or the world makes us, allocate our resources in different manners to the new work culture which is evolving. Technology is changing. Back in the days, what our respected friend from BSNL was saying is that you used to have these fixed line calls and trunk calls which were there. Now you have 5G, where, for example, without your WhatsApp working, you are totally blind. Or if you have not posted an Instagram reel, people would think that, your day is not complete. So stuff like that. Even the economy is changing for that matter, from cash to digital. So practically there is a complete change in the complete phenomenon of what we see. Work from home is becoming a new norm. So, bring your own device, the pandemic, geographical restrictions. So now the telecom industry has to cater not to specific centers, but to possibly a person who is sitting in some village and working on his laptop, to a person who is sitting in a main town, or to somebody who is in the hills or in the mountains. So therefore, having the ability to provide services irrespective of terrain, geography, region is becoming very important. Previously, the demographics were different. Size was what mattered. So you had, the biggest phone, the biggest car, things like that. Now the screen sizes are becoming bigger. And therefore, in order for the new telecom economy to develop, you have to use more and more consumption. And when I talk about consumption is, for example, the screen size is becoming bigger, the devices are becoming smaller. The average cost per MB is becoming lower. But then, does it mean that ARPU also has to become lower? No. If the ARPU becomes lower, the whole telecom industry is going for a spin. So Basically, if you have bigger screen sizes and if the cost per MB is becoming lower, what you need to do is to have ways and means to increase the consumption. And that increase in consumption is basically going to come from you having enablers which will make you change the way on how you communicate in business. Video consumption is increasing quite hugely. Now, most of our calls are running on Teams or Meet or Google Meet or things like that, where we actually are. Even I have seen that within an office, people prefer to use a video meeting platform rather than going and sitting across the table because these past 2 or 3 years have made them used to it. So, therefore, these are all good signs. But then our idea should be that we should move to a situation where we enable this communication and make it so transparent and easy that nobody finds it difficult to actually go and get things, or accessing things. Business communication landscape is changing, voice is going off. As you can see, the maximum things that you do today is basically webinars and web meetings, followed by maybe emails. So gradually, all the bandwidth that the telcos which are providing is basically becoming a pipe. Voice as a mean of revenue is gone. Data is the new revenue. And now, when we talk about changing the new normal for business communications, it is purely to be based on data. So, if you look today, for example, on the case of telecom, for example, you have the option of having a standard old TDM circuit or going to voice over IP, a SIP trunking. You have remote extensions, as I said, people sitting in some village, some small city, as well as communicating internationally over their phone, over a mobile client, over their computer. So you have things and accessibility to video, voice, chat, and presence. You talk about audio video conferencing on the web. We talk about collaboration and workflows being available. We talk about, contact centers, bots, AI coming into the picture, advanced CRM integrations with, you know, uh, sort of platforms like Salesforce, Dynamics, Zoho, etc., etc. Many sort of applications, whether it is a learning management system, whether it is a property management system, billing, and obviously the headsets and the endpoints. So, previously, business communication used to be a PBX and an operator sitting there connecting one call to the other. We have transitioned to such a complicated system which has so many abilities, and this, what I'm showing right now, is possibly very less. You would have more and more complexities being added as we go over time. Customers are also growing in a different manner. So, for example, you start with a small operation or an enterprise which might just need a unified communication solution or a PBX requirement or an intercom requirement, and then maybe some applications. Now, the moment you talk about internet, you talk about security. So, therefore, they would need things like SD-WAN, software defined WAN, session border controllers, securing their internet voice line, things like that. They expand more, go into multiple locations. Now, every location has a different need. Some location maybe possibly needs a fax machine because that location is based in a country where you have fax. Some other location and every other location might need video meetings where they would collaborate. Other locations might need, you know, uh, desktop as a service. You have purchased an expensive software platform where you just do not want to give everybody a user. So you need desktop as a service. So things like that. So now, and then you come to the headquarters, okay, and they need a contact center, a customer care, and a heap of other solutions. I'll give you an example in Singapore, back in the days, telecom was not growing. They still were at the usual rate, and Singapore, being a small country, couldn't do anything. So they introduced a new concept called PLI, or productivity linked incentive. Any company which was migrating to an IP based network would be given a fixed sum of money from the government. This was basically to sponsor part of the cost of the IP network and the underlying paraphernalia which was there. Over a period of 3.5 years, they managed to change 80% of the enterprise network into IP. In India, till today, 70% of the enterprise network is on TDM. All the NECs, Panasonic, and other TDM systems which are running. Imagine if you are able to give them the option of using mobile clients, video clients, give them the option of doing web and video conferencing. How would it be a total boost to the telecom sector where possibly consumption will grow maybe 500%? And where Mr. Akhil and people were so talking about reducing ARPUs, the consumption would anyways take care of making this industry one of the biggest industries for India. Thought process, which I think we should think about. And these are the tools that enable. So don't look at the company where I have used my company logos because we cannot use some other logos. But the idea is to give you an overall, idea. So video meetings, for example, collaboration tools, a soft client on every mobile phone so that your extension goes with you. You can chat, you can share the video right now. I've seen many people taking photographs, share it on a group which they can talk about. Various CRM connectors to multiple CRM applications. Microsoft Teams, most of us would be working on, connecting to Microsoft Teams. Multiple application stores, desktop as a service. All of these services are not available to any of the enterprises who are working on TDM. And when I talk about TDM, it's the old telephony systems. However, the moment they come to IP, they have access to this. And basically, what happens is they are increasing consumption. So, when we talk about the amount of data and bandwidth being consumed, people are going to ask then for, availability of bandwidth from space, availability of terrestrial bandwidth for using these applications. And that's a positive thing from everybody's ask. So it is important from everybody's perspective to make the right choice, because when you look at what are the things that are important to you, there are many options for you today when you go into cloud or when you go into voice over IP and then have solutions. But then you have to plan for the future and find that what is the right choice for you. So whether it is just UCAS, whether it is contact center, whether it is meetings or collaboration, you have to choose your own sort of set of options. These possibilities come only by using voice over IP or cloud telephony, but then there are the pros and the cons for both. On cloud, half of the things, there is a question of data security. There's a question of whether bandwidth is available. So today, for example, when I'm on the highway, you know, above a speed of 85 kilometers per hour, there is practically no network coverage because my call keeps on dropping. Is this something which we can actually rectify? Or can we talk about our carriers, whether it is Vodafone, Airtel, BSNL, that they could do something for giving that sort of coverage such that I could go on and do my video meeting while maintaining my speed limit of 120 on the new Delhi to Bombay highway? Sometimes it's not possible. So therefore, we still are not in a position where the infrastructure is such that all of the cloud telephony part of things are possible. So therefore, we need to move and decide on whether we want to implement a complete cloud solution, we want to implement a hybrid solution, or we want to implement an on-prem solution. And each and every enterprise has its own choice. And that choice has to be very much determined by the work that you do, by the criticality of applications that you use, and by the nature of security that your data needs to be put through. So I would say that that's all from my side today. So as a passing comment, I think one of the major benefiters for the Indian economy and the Indian telecom industry would be to fast track the transition of enterprises into IP and providing them the options of increasing consumption by using all these tools which are available today, but which are available only to a select few because of either cost or because of approach. So maybe the government as well as the telcos should look at how do they increase and help themselves by increasing consumption by making the right move to IP for all enterprises. Thank you.